Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Tech Magic, the podcast where you come for the tech and stay for the magic. I am your host, Cathy Hackl, and this is the podcast where we talk about innovation, AI, spatial computing, gaming, you name it, everything in between. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host, Lee Kebler. Lee, what's going on?
Okay, so most of the year, I'm the grumpy guy. I get it. I throw wet blankets on people and tell them why they're wrong. I hear your angry LinkedIn posts and messages to me. Listeners, I get it. But then December rolls around and I just become the most pleasant person on the planet. I love December because my holiday diet changes and I genuinely love Christmas music and holiday music. I can't explain. I think it's because I grew up in Florida where we had no winter. Catching up. But I'm putting eggnog in my coffee now.
Oh my goodness.
I'm overboard when it comes to this season. And this is the last episode that we're recording. We're going to do some best ofs because I think the next episode after this is on Christmas or something crazy like that.
Well, there's a couple episodes. So this is the last one we're recording on the week of. And then there'll be an episode on gaming and an episode on AI. So those are going to be really interesting. And then there's going to be some best stuff because December 25th and January 1st are Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So we will not be recording those weeks, of course. There will be just reruns of the best stuff.
Yep. So yeah, I'm absolutely doing great right now. Love the holiday season.
Christmas Lee is my favorite Lee.
Yes. I'm all about mulled wine. For what? I don't even like wine. Genuinely don't. I'm not a wine drinker.
You're not much of a drinker, I have to say. Yeah.
But mulled wine is my jam. I'm a completely different person.
If anyone needs or wants something from Lee, any time of the year, this is the time to reach out and be like, Lee, remember, I need this favor.
Yeah. I'm out Christmas shopping.
Did you Black Friday shop? Tell me.
No, I don't do that. There's still a little bit of grumpy version of me, and I'm just you market the prices to knock them back down. However, this is my Christmas holiday shopping tip of the season right now at Target. And this goes all the way until the 11th of January. They're running this deal. Quest 3s and Quest 3Ss are 30% off.
No way. I almost bought one on Amazon, so I'm going to go buy one at Target.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
All of Target's Meta stuff is 30% off right now. I saw it yesterday. I checked the tag.
They have the Ray-Bans? Do you know if they have the Ray-Bans as well?
I don't think they have the Ray-Bans. I know Best Buy does.
I went to Best Buy on Black Friday. That's the one thing I did do.
Yeah, Black Friday scares me. I grew up next to an outlet mall in Florida, and I just know I still have some war stories from that I'm not with.
Yeah, you're not driving anywhere that day if you're in your mall or... No, I get it for sure. I did have one of my besties who came in for Thanksgiving. She was up at 6 a.m., shopped till 6 p.m. I was just oh my gosh, girl.
And we're recording this on Cyber Monday. It'll go live on Wednesday, but I like to refer to this as unsubscribe day.
This is unsubscribe day 100%.
I love Cyber Monday because every company that has your email address will email you today, and you can just unsubscribe all at once. I love this day. I just sit on my email and go, I don't care about you. I didn't even know you had my email address. Where did this come from?
Yeah, like, which database did you buy my email off of? Because that's true. And then tomorrow, I mean, we're recording Monday. This drops Wednesday. Tomorrow's Giving Tuesday. So tomorrow you will hear from all the nonprofits that have your
don't
email.
Unsubscribe from them. Consider
don't unsubscribe.
giving.
Give if it is the right cost for you, for your values. So by all means, Giving Tuesday is important. So that's good. Okay, so our predictions episode was very well received. Predictions 1 was very well received by a lot of folks, lots of outreach.
Not only was it well received, it's already proven to be accurate. I made some predictions on my end about Intel, and then I woke up this morning and found out that the CEO of Intel has abruptly retired was the word that they used.
Retired was the PR word used on that press release.
Yeah. As a former Intel employee, it absolutely shocked me because I actually really liked Pat, who was the CEO, and I don't have any further insight into what happened or why, but that one was a bit jarring, but that tells me that 2025 is going to be an interesting year for Intel. We will see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I mean, lots of issues for Intel, but maybe they'll come back. Who knows? Anything can happen in 2025, as we know from 2024.
They hold chip manufacturing in the United States, and this is very much a political paradigm shift when it comes to where things can be manufactured and who can manufacture in certain countries and where they can't. We try not to get political here, but there is a lot of talk about tariffs in China, and a lot of the chip manufacturing does happen over there. And if those things go in place, Intel is positioned to not only produce their chips here in the U.S., but produce other people's chips here in the U.S.
Other people's chips,
So I'm not willing to count them out. That's why I said this wasn't necessarily a bad year for them. It is going to be a very interesting year.
Very interesting year, for sure. 2025 will be very interesting to watch. So let's get into predictions. So last time we did 3 different predictions. This time around, we're also going to do 3 different predictions. So maybe you can start us off.
Yeah, so this time around, we're going to take a little bit of a change from what we know will happen, what we think will happen, and what's a hot take that will happen. And we're going to move this into an emotional roller coaster of the holiday season. What is the holidays without a bunch of emotional baggage? So we're going to pull out, the emotional Christmas sack here, reach in and pull out something that is going to make you happy, something that is going to make you scared, and something that could make you angry. Where would you like to start?
Always with happy.
You want to start with happy and just roll that roller coaster right into
Let's go down, all the way down.
All right, I'll let you kick it off. What is your prediction 2025 that makes you happy?
Several things, but this is the biggest one because this is very relevant and it just came out today. World Labs, which is Dr. Fei Li's AI startup. She is the godmother of AI. I'm the godmother of the metaverse. So I feel a certain godmothership there. But her company, World Labs, which is a spatial intelligence and AI company, has released their first demo. So they're working on large world models, which anyone that's heard any of my talks knows that spatial intelligence, computer vision, large vision models, and large world models is part of every one of my talks. It's the future where a lot of this is going to go. So first demo dropped. Amazing. My prediction, and this makes me happy, because I really admire Dr. Fei Li. My prediction, this is a bold one that would make me happy, is if eventually in 2025, World Labs valuation increases quite a bit. I'm not going to say it's going to be worth the same as OpenAI in a year, but I think World Labs is going to be worth a lot of billions of dollars, or the valuation will be lots of billions of dollars in World Labs in the next level large world models, because that's really where I think it's going to go. It would make me happy. It would make me really happy because she's a fierce woman in tech.
Where is World Labs located?
Oh, she's out of
San Francisco.
So it's all San Francisco. I don't know if she's in San Francisco proper. Most of AI is, but she might be in other parts of the Bay Area.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Okay, you said you had more than one. So what's your other happy?
Here's another one. This is related to maybe some of the work you might see me doing right next year, is that makes me happy in a way because this is what I see happening as we move forward, okay? And this is related to dating and apps and tech, okay? As someone that's recently divorced, that has been on the apps and stuff, I feel like maybe at some point, like dating was just in person, like you just did it in person, you met people at a restaurant or at college or a bar, and we still do meet them physically.
Sure.
That evolved into meeting on a website. So whether it was Match.com as a website or eHarmony as a website, it started off as websites, right? And then it evolved into apps. now people meeting in apps. I feel like dating apps have hit like a road bump, and there's a lot of sweat fatigue, and it's just not a very, I don't know, from a UX perspective and everything. I just feel like there's so many people that are like tired of the dating apps. I think what comes next, Lee, is dating worlds or dating experiences that are more virtual in form and that might be incorporated into virtual worlds. So I think that maybe that's some of the stuff you might see me do. So that makes me happy. I think the dating tech world, the dating app world, it is due for disruption. And I don't think another app per se is going to do it. We'll have to see.
I think you're right. And I think you've seen this documentary, but there was a fantastic documentary on HBO. We Met in Virtual Reality. I don't remember the exact title, but if you were to search that, it'll pop up. And it is a fantastic documentary, not necessarily about like dating, but just like how people interact and meet inside of VR chat and other platforms like it, and how it has grown since like the early days of Second Life and things like that. And so it is a natural progression of things, especially as people who are getting into the dating scene grew up with multiplayer video games, right? Like you have an entire new generation who are now adults. And so it's not odd for them to have a history of playing Roblox, which sounds so elementary, but you have to realize like Roblox has been around since 2007. So it's not quite as simple as it used to be. So that's logical to me.
Like to me, that makes me happy. I think there is due for disruption. I am part of the people that are going to be working on things like that. And I just see the future. I see like how my kids meet, where the social interaction happens, right? So those are two that make me happy. I would say Dr. Lee, great. Her valuation for World Labs will continue to increase as she releases more demos and she proves to the world what she's working on. She's a true visionary. I'm super excited to see. And then, dating. I think the next step beyond dating apps is virtual experiences, like dating in the virtual space via gaming, via virtual platforms. So,
yeah, I can see that. All right, so here's mine. So 2024 was an absolute nightmare of a year for the gaming industry. I don't think anybody can argue that. We just saw more layoffs. We saw more disruption. We saw more teams get cut. We saw games that were supposed to come out and not come out and get canceled. Games that should have been canceled come out with multi-billion-dollar budgets and they get flushed down the toilet. We saw it all. I predict 2025, this pattern changes. I think we are going to see an influx of indie gaming like we've never seen before because there's so much talent out there and the engines are now so approachable. We're seeing the increase in interest even in open source projects like Godot as a gaming engine, where whenever we see a gaming engine come to the spotlight like that and the major studios are not paying attention to it, the indie studios prove its value. And that's always comes with a lot of really good indie game development. So I just see 2025 as this really shining beacon that allows people who were hurt in the gaming industry to make a comeback. And I'm really happy about that. I think that's going to be great. So that's my happy hope for the year. And I think it's a good thing. I think we're going to patch a lot of things up from the gaming industry in 2020.
All right, so that's good. Which one's next, Lee?
Let's do Scared.
Ooh. Okay, do you want me to go?
I think you should. Yeah.
Several things concern me. I don't even know if I call it the prediction, but there's a few things that continue to concern me. The increased influence of China as a world power across the globe, the investments they've made across the developing world, Latin America, Africa, other parts, emerging Asia, with all 5G bases and a lot of infrastructure. So that concerns me in the sense that I continue to see that kind of geopolitical tension. Obviously, now we're talking about chips, we're talking about technology, we're talking about AI. There was a really interesting perspective from Kai-Fu Lee, who wrote really popular AI books. He's worked out of China. He used to run Google China when that existed. And he talked about how much cheaper it is to train the models in China. A lot less, like 100 million here is like a couple million there. So very interested in seeing how things progress. I continue to see a prediction that makes me scared. I'd say continued importance or continued dominance maybe of some of the Chinese initiatives when it comes to 5G infrastructure across emerging markets. That is pretty scary. With that also comes a concept proposed by Lula, who used to be the president of Brazil, now is again, when they were talking about at the BRICS meeting, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now there's a few other countries that are wanting to be part of BRICS, talking about potentially creating a new currency to replace the dollar. So pretty concerning from a U.S.-centric perspective. So yeah, there is, I think, more geopolitical tension ahead of us in 2025 that scares me and concerns me.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I've got kind of a similar. I still think it bodes well even for companies like Intel, because we're kind of basing a little bit of this geopolitical shift in technology based on like Huawei getting banned, which actually happened in 2019 under the Trump administration and was a call that I understood. And so I don't see that getting undone. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets played out. It could be very telling, and it does leave a lot of things very much up in the air. So I agree. Mine's a little bit different, and it actually stems from Australia. So Australia went forward and barred anyone under 16 from social media. Just blanket boom.
Yeah.
Now, whether I agree with that decision or not is not up for debate because it is a decision that was made. What I do like was it was at least something that was agreed upon by the entire country. And this is a soapbox that I've stood on, that you've stood on for the last year or more.
Yeah.
And that is by what we've done in the US is states are individually creating a lot of these laws, which means that the internet that you can access in one state is not necessarily the same that you can access in the other. And this is probably going to get worse. And my biggest fear is we're going to go an entire year of 2025 without any better understanding or any regulatory stance, especially when it comes to AI control, AI censorship protections, and these things. We know we're going to head towards a tumultuous year. Any transitional year always does have that because you are changing out so many positions. But that means that there's going to be an entire year of growth in the AI space and in the social media space, in all of these spaces where states are making up these fraction laws and it's not happening on a national level. So there is no singular agreement as to how our internet actually works. And as we approach more questions about AI censorship protections and personal identity protections, all of that is just not going to be a conversation at the table, at least in 2025. And genuinely, that scares me. Because it is one of our biggest threats when it comes to just our personal and social lives and our digital footprint. And I have not heard anyone say anything about it. I don't know. It scares me.
We'll have to see. ... Right?
All right. So that was my scary one. We're left with the, I know you don't like this, but I couldn't think of another emotion. What is a prediction that you think will happen that makes you angry?
I don't like the word angry. I
know you don't.
I don't like the word angry. I'm going to use the word concerned.
Okay, concerned.
Concerned.
That gives you a furrowed brow.
Yeah, furrow. I am concerned. I think there's two things. There's two things that make me concerned. One of them is, and I see this with my kids, the continued state of education it's stuck in the last century. Like, I feel like education is, the way we still teach kids baffles me, right? I'm just like, how are we still teaching kids in the Industrial Revolution kind of way? The regurgitation, the memorization, like, how is that even useful to them? So it does make me concerned that I'm seeing such little change across the board. Like, instead of banning books, why can't we just reform curriculums in the sense of focusing on critical thinking, focusing on a lot of other things, resilience, that I think are going to be so importantly critical for these kids in the age of AI.
Yeah.
Right? My kids had a chance for about a year when we moved to DC to go to a very different school. It was a cooperative, and they had a beautiful schedule. Critical thinking was literally a class. They had world events, they had critical thinking, they had resilience as a class. They did field trips every other Friday. They did hiking. It was such a beautiful curriculum. It didn't work out for us as a family because it's a cooperative and it just required a lot of our engagement as parents. And I traveled quite a bit. I don't feel like anything's going to change in 2025, despite AI being so present. Something has to change. So I would say this is one of the ones that makes me concerned.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Is that I don't think much is going to change when it comes to critical thinking and some of those things. We're going to continue to teach kids in the old-fashioned way that is not going to serve them in the future.
And it is different location to location. Both my parents are public school teachers, so I grew up in a public school system. I know it very well. In fact, my first company that I ever owned was a curriculum writing company for tech ed classrooms in middle schools in the US. So I'm really familiar with their structure, and they seem to go on this interesting roller coaster where they try new things and then they go backwards, and then they try new things and they go backwards. And it's difficult. And I've lived in a lot of different places in the United States, and I've noticed that every time I go to a different place, the school systems are completely different. Like there is almost like a local value. Yes, they all have standardized tests, and I was in that first generation that had to do, we were the guinea pigs of the standardized tests. I get why people hate them. But outside of that, you do see state by state, city by city, different approaches to education. I'm hoping that we see really passionate teachers continue to go, but the motivation is tough. And I do see the issue with AI without it being addressed properly is quite disheartening. Going back to chip manufacturing, I've had a couple of talks with some people who work within public school system on a federal level who want to go into, okay, we have these tech ed classrooms. How do we actually teach chip manufacturing? And so those conversations are happening in the background, and I've had a lot of them.
But they're just conversations. I feel like in 2025, I don't think we're going to see. In 2025, it may not go much further than it is in 2024, and it may actually take a step backwards. We will have to see. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on parents just to... continue pressure on parents. Another thing, I guess this one makes me angry is...
Oh, you use the word. You use the anger.
Wow, I'm angry now. I feel like there needs to be real legislation around AI deepfakes in porn. I'm concerned about
you can be angry about that. That deserves an angry.
I'm angry. Like, I hope there's nothing out there for me, right? But more than me, like, I worry about my kids and the stuff they're going to see, or the stuff that could be created. Like, it's really concerning. And I feel like even like now, my kids are older, so I have conversations with them about, I don't even call it the birds and the bees. It's like all types of like, this is what happens,
what's
right?
What's, yeah.
This is what's what. I feel like I have to add now a layer. Like I had a conversation with my son the other day, actually. I said, look, this is what happened to a boy with character AI, and he fell in love with the AI, and he eventually killed himself, and like explained what happened. I said, I want you to be very clear. AI is not a real human, right?
Yeah.
Even if AI were to tell you that AI loves you, it's not a real human with human feelings. So like having to have those conversations, there needs to be something eventually done around that. And this is like two different things, right? This is like AI and like also deepfakes AI. It's all AI, but there is a level there of like, my gosh, we have to protect our kids.
I don't think it is two different things. I really don't.
That's a good point.
At the end of the day, this is just a lack of people who are in regulatory positions that do not understand the threat.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get to a point where we go backwards to the 80s where we had this panic and everyone started censoring everything and we started slapping parental guidance suggestions literally on all content. That's not what I'm at all suggesting, but there is some level of like engine regulation that has to take place here, and you're never going to get it to 100%, but it should not be as easily acceptable, interpretable, or receivable to a kid. Like, I remember having to have similar conversations with my parents about chat rooms, AOL chat rooms, right? That was a whole new paradigm shift when it came to communicating with people. And I think I was maybe 12 or 13 or somewhere around there. And my parents were just like, they saw a 2020 episode and it scared them. I didn't even know what an AOL chat room was.
Yes.
But they watched 2020 and Barbara Walters told them to be terrified. So I had to have this conversation, probably as your kid's age, like this is chat rooms, strangers are in chat rooms and they want to do horrible things.
I've had those conversations with them. It's like,
right.
And I always say it could be a 50-year-old man in a basement. Like I paint the worst picture, right? It came to AI. I mean, I really sat down with my son and said, look, even if AI tells you it loves you, like it doesn't. Like it just doesn't. Like this is not a real love situation.
What a wild conversation that I don't think any of us ever saw ourselves having to have.
I mean,
like
and
the
it's not
computer
that
doesn't
he wanted
love
the
you.
conversation. It was me coming to him proactively and being like, hey, honey, this happened. I need you to know about it in case you hear about it at school. Yeah. And this is the reality. It's ones and zeros. Like it's
so
not
horrible.
Yeah. But I mean, that makes me angry. I'll say as a parent, that makes me angry that I have to have that conversation.
I'm not a parent and it makes me angry. It's just, this is not a conversation anyone should have. And it just goes down to a lack of understanding by regulatory people who are in those positions to actually move something forward.
Okay, let's go with yours.
It changed. Okay. So my first angry, originally when I was writing my notes of like, what am I going to say here? Where's my soapbox going? Here I go. It was Elon Musk talking about building an AI generative game engine. So he's been in the news saying game studios are ripping people off and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go make a game engine that does all of it in generative AI. And originally that made me mad. And then I realized it was Elon Musk, so it's not happening for like 10 years. So 2025, it just doesn't count. He predicts something.
He's busy right now.
He predicts something, and then it does take way more than a year. So it didn't fit into 2025. Maybe we'll talk about this in 2035. So really what it boils down to is I'm actually I thought we were done, but I'm watching. It's like cicadas. Tech bros who are into crypto come back like every 3 years. They crawl out of the ground, and then they just take over social media, and they bicker. And I'm so angry about it. I always think it's done. And it is just like this returning bug that happens for years. And 2025 is just marked on the calendar of like, this is where they hatch and the crypto bros come back out.
I mean, after the crypto winter, they come out of hibernation.
And they're just going to chirp in our ears for a year. Then that makes me angry.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh. I do think, regardless of crypto, I do think blockchain as an underlying architecture and technology is extremely valuable.
I do too.
Whether I was a Bored Ape, I was a mutant ape. Like, I'm no longer one, right? I divested myself from that a while back.
But as I'm watching stuff, like, there are just blatant, like, rug pull schemes that are happening every day in cryptocurrency, and people keep falling for it, and then they keep getting angry, and I'm just like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson? Don't do whatever.
Yeah, regardless of that, I do think blockchain as an underlying architecture is incredibly important.
I absolutely do too.
It's just, I think there's a lot of crypto scams still happening, and coming out of that crypto winter into what we're right now, which is insane. Anyone holding Bitcoin can attest to that. It's insane.
I still have some cryptocurrency that I purchased for like nothing back in 2016, and I just keep watching the wallet go up. I have no idea how to cash it out. I have no idea what to do with it. Like, it's just there.
Hold it.
But good Lord, I'm not looking forward to 2025 and cryptocurrency being a talking point.
Let's launch a Leetcoin.
A Leetcoin, yeah. Just Kebler coin.
Kebler coin.
That's the next thing, right?
DJ Keeps coin. There you go.
Oh, man.
Has a ring to it.
Yeah, it does. And that's why I hate it, because it'll probably work.
People would probably buy that or buy into it or whatever. Oh, my gosh. That is hilarious. Let's go on a quick break. And then when we get back, we'll do the last surprise one.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD Advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply. Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search XERO for your free trial. Conditions apply.
All right, Lee. So before we wrap up, let's do a prediction. A prediction that motivates you in 2025. So we talked about what makes us happy, what motivates you in 2025.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have to think about it for a second.
It's got to be music related. I feel like with you, it's got to be music related.
It is. I just have to think about what's yours. Give me some thought time.
So for me, I would say I'm going to CES and I'm going to see amazing stuff. I'm really excited about many things on the show floor, but I'm really excited about seeing health and tech continuing to converge and helping people get healthier. So like from that perspective, I think in 2025, health and tech are going to continue to merge and it's going to allow folks to be healthier, easier, faster. And that motivates me in 2025 to be like even a better year for me from a health perspective. So yeah, I think we're going to see continued advancements there. I was very excited when I saw the AirPods that could help with hearing and then all the advancements in Apple Watch and Apple Health and all those sorts of things. Because, I mean, the more data we have about what our bodies do, the more we can actually optimize and the more we can actually become better. So yeah, I think there's going to be really interesting things happening there. I'm interested in exploring longevity, not in a weird kind of way. I mean, there's a lot of weird longevity stuff happening, but it's more like
Walt Disney freeze yourself kind of?
Yeah, no, not just in cryogenics in that sense. But I think, yeah, I'm interested in continuing to see how technology and health kind of converge and how it helps us optimize and become better. One of the really cool things I did last year, and I talked about this on the pod, was I did the full body MRI at Pernubo.
Yeah,
to see what was going on. So I got everything checked. I'm great. Anything that would have been concerning isn't. And that's something that I'm going to start to add every year and a half into my health regimen is how can I use tech to become better and healthier so I can live longer for my kids. So that motivates me. In 2025, I'm even more motivated than ever before to kind of use tech to become healthier.
Oh, that's such a good one. Now mine seems lame. For me, I've got two projects on the back burner. Not on the back burner. They're just not really publicly well known. And 2025 is actually positioned really well for both of them. Reading has become really popular again. We're seeing an increase of book sales and of readership. We're seeing a whole new line of Kindles and different e-ink tablets, which I'm a big fan of. And I'm the one nerd who thinks e-ink is actually really cool. And so as I am on my final pass of trying to figure out how to publish a novel, like that really is very motivating for me. Couple of years ago, probably not so much, but even if you go to, I noticed this the other day, I went to Target and I was shopping around Target and their DVD selection was gone. Like there was no Blu-ray section, there was no DVD section, and it was entirely replaced with books.
Really?
Go check out your Target, walk back to where the DVDs used to be.
Where do I even play a DVD nowadays?
Exactly.
My son in my car the other day said, why doesn't this have a CD player like Dad's? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't used a CD in forever.
Yeah. So we're seeing an increase of book sales. We're also seeing vinyl is on the precipice of overtaking CDs. That totally makes sense. People are buying vinyl. Record players are becoming way more popular. And as a DJ, that always makes me happy. So as an author who's trying to break out, that's really motivating. The other one is there's a lot happening when it comes to the music industry and getting music distributed to video games. One of the biggest distributors is now distributing their artist music to Roblox. That's a huge leap forward. And one of the back projects that I've always been working on, honestly, for a couple of years now, has been on how do you track and properly insert music so that the rights can be attributed back to the producers, songwriters, and rights holders for that music. Because right now, it's all these like old archaic contracts. And I think that there's definitely a motivating factor there for me to push forward and make something of that, in that area happen this year as well. So those are my two big goals, if you were to say, moving into 2025. And here's hoping. I just think it's going to be
a great year. I mean, I see it as a year of huge adventures for me in abundance. Like I'm starting new everything next year.
And I don't know anyone who has been on more adventures in the last 6 months than you. You've done 2 safaris. You went to Rome. Good grief, Cathy.
Well, just wait till next year because I'm full of adventures and abundance. And the thing is, also my speaking calendar is starting to get really busy, which I am so happy about. I feel like people are eventually coming to me as a tech futurist to try to put everything together, also looking at like what comes next for AI and how does that work with on-device. It's really interesting. I'm seeing this really interesting shift when it comes to events. I think that they've already had the talks about what is AI and how to use ChatGPT.
Yep.
And I feel like they're past that. Now it's more like, okay, let's look at the bigger picture. What does this mean with all the tech convergence? And I feel like that's my main focus in 2025 is all this emerging tech kind of coming together. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
How do we start using it for business, et cetera? So yeah, like I'm super excited. I think this will be a fantastic year.
And I think it's going to be a good year for the podcast.
Yes, guys, keep listening, share it, because we're growing. More people are listening. Like I was looking at, I'm not going to share any data right now, but like we're looking at where we are on the charts. My gosh, like we're doing really well across several geographies. And yeah, like this is a baby pivot podcast.
Now we got to get to like toddler mode where we're just like waddling along.
We're a little baby, maybe crawling a little bit. But yeah, I feel like the pod is doing so well. So guys, thank you. Thanks to all our listeners.
Yes, absolutely.
Seriously, and to Adweek for allowing us to do Tech Magic.
It is fun. It is honestly the highlight of my week. I love doing this.
It's a fun thing to start. And plus, it's always fun to talk to you, Lee.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, I always like to send out a music recommendation, and it's always going to be something that you probably hadn't thought of. I'm going pop in this one, and it is that holiday season. I told you, I'm a different person when December hits. So I'm currently listening to A Very Casey Christmas by Kacey Musgraves.
I love her, though.
I adore this album. It came out in 2016. I bought it on vinyl as soon as it hit. It has classic Christmas songs, but there's a lot of original music. And one of my biggest gripes with like music, especially Christmas music, is like our grandparents seem to write all of the Christmas music for the next 100 years. And then people stopped writing Christmas music except for like Mariah Carey, right? Like my generation had one song and it was Mariah Carey, and we're still listening to like music.
We're still listening to Mariah. Yeah, my kids hate it when I play that one.
From like 80 years ago. And so A Very Casey Christmas has some originals, and it has one of my newest favorite Christmas songs, A Willie Nice Christmas, and it's a duet with Willie Nelson.
Oh, yes. Gotta love that.
And it's just absolutely fantastic Christmas song. I love it. If you're looking for something that's like warm, charming, holiday spirit, it's the album for me right now. I love it. And Kacey Musgraves is just like, she's bad. She's just rock and roll to me. I love it. No one's probably going to tell you to go listen to that this year, so that's what I'm here to do. And that's what I'm listening to right now. So yeah, A Very Casey Christmas.
Very Casey Christmas.
What's on your reading list for the holidays? You've got time off. You got to be reading something.
I'm rereading something. And this is a book called Letting Go. It's a really old book. It's called Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. It's by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Really interesting book on how to let go of things, expectations, how to accept your reality. It's a profound book. It's not the type of book that you read in a weekend. You got to process it. You got to read parts. The first chapter is kind of a little dull, to be honest. But I think there's a chapter there on acceptance, on accepting your current state, your reality. A great chapter on relationships, a great chapter on your job and your vocational accolades. So if you're looking for something inspirational, deep thinking that can really be transformative over the holiday season, definitely Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. It's a really old book. It's a classic, but I think there's so much there. And I always go back to it. Every once in a while, I go back and reread it, and it just hits so well. So
there you go.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hello, Cathy and Lee. Welcome to this week's Dispatch from the Fringe. Today's story comes courtesy of the BBC about rats who learn to drive and how it can help humans lead happier lives. The main researcher, Kelly Lambert, who is also a professor of biology at the University of Richmond, has been using ROVs, rodent-operated devices, in her research for a while now. The rats originally learned to drive by grasping a small wire that acted like a gas pedal, and then they learned to steer with surprising precision to reach a Fruit Loop treat, which I understand because Fruit Loops is also my favorite cereal. So Kelly Lambert was testing neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change across its lifespan in response to environmental demands. And she found that the rats had an intense motivation for their driving training. They would often jump into the car and rev the lever engine before the vehicle ever hit the road. In 2020, Lambert noticed something unusual when she walked into the lab. Her 3 driving-trained rats eagerly ran to the side of the cage, jumping up like her dog did when she asked if he wanted to go for a walk. So she wondered, behaviors associated with positive experiences are associated with joy in humans, but what about rats? Lambert and her team shifted focus from negative topics like chronic stress and how that influences brains to positive events in anticipation for them and how that shapes neural functions. Her preliminary results suggest that rats who are required to wait for the rewards show signs of shifting from a pessimistic cognitive style to an optimistic one in a test designed to measure rodent optimism. And they performed better on cognitive tasks that were bolder in their problem-solving strategies. Rats looked forward to a task like driving the ROV, experienced something called straw tail. It's when their tail goes straight up in the air and has a little crook on the end, like an old-fashioned umbrella. And this was only seen before in studies where rats were on opioids. But for these rats, it was simply getting to drive a car. Lambert says that the straw tail is a reminder that emotions are expressed throughout the entire body. And now we get to my favorite part of the study. Lambert says while they can't directly ask whether a rat likes to drive, they can devise a test to assess their motivation to. This time, instead of only giving the rats an option of driving to the Fruit Loop tree, they could also make a shorter journey on foot, or paw in this case. Surprisingly, 2 of the 3 rats chose to take the less efficient path of turning away from the reward and running to the car to drive to their Fruit Loop destination. This response suggests that the rats enjoy both the journey and the rewarding destination. Lambert concludes, and I agree, that rather than pushing buttons for instant rewards, the rats remind us that planning, anticipating, and enjoying the ride may be the key to a healthy brain. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Dispatch from the Fringe.
Other than that, happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Tech Magic, where we always invite you to come for the tech, stay for the magic. I'm Lee Kebler, here with the always incredible and holiday festive Cathy Hackl. Special thanks, as always, to our producer, Lily Snyder, and to Adweek for bringing this show to you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Just search for Tech Magic, Cathy Hackl, or me, Lee Kebler. And until the next year, happy holidays, everybody.